was a first-round pick, and you're changing positions? This is crazy.
Okay, so between that and Justin Gilbert, what do you want?
Hold on. He had 2 grades coming out of college, though. One as a safety, one as a linebacker.
He's what, 6'6"? You're going to put him at safety? I don't know.
He's 6'4". He's 6'4". He can play safety.
All right, Randy, where are we going next? Skype 2?
We are going to Skype 2.
And who's on Skype 2?
This is Scott Seville. He is
Scott Seville.
Space Coast Browns backers.
Hey, Scott, how are you? It's good to see you again.
Awesome. How are you guys?
Good. How's your son there? Is that your son?
Guy.
Yeah, that's my son. Yep.
What's his name?
Zachary.
Zachary, how are you doing? Did you watch the game, Zachary?
No.
He was at a small amusement park.
Doing homework would be the appropriate answer, right? I couldn't watch the game because I was doing homework. All right, so, Dad, you did watch the game yesterday. What'd you think?
Well, look, they played an unbeaten team, right? And they played Peyton Manning, and it was a tough, tough loss. I think we're so close to being a really good team. We just got to get over that hump. And I know we've been saying that for years, but look how close the game was. It was incredible.
Scott, just your thoughts on Mike Pettin and the way he coached the game yesterday, because I think the talk in Cleveland today is going to be about why didn't they kick the field goal in the beginning of the game, which I don't know if they would have made. It was a tough win. There was a lot of things going on. Why did they go for 2 instead of just taking the sure extra point? Why didn't they do this? I mean, it's so easy to sit here and question the head coach the day after a loss, but what did you think of the coaching?
Well, I thought he did a pretty good job. I understand the field goal. They decided ahead of the game that this was the distance, and they were 2 yards past it. The guy's been hitting all year, so I don't know what they knew that we didn't know, but they were 2 yards past the point that they said he was going to get field goals. So 4th and 5, and then the 2 points, I got to tell you, I have a group of we were about 41 people yesterday. The whole place was screaming, especially after the week before, go for one, go for one. What are you guys doing? People were on their knees begging for them to go for one. It wasn't going to happen. They went for 2 points.
So you would say the majority of the people you were with just wish they would have just kicked the extra point?
Everyone. I mean, if someone wasn't speaking, then they may have went for the 2. But the whole place was just screaming, go for one. Especially after, what was it, last week? We had that same issue, or the week before.
Right.
Go for one. Go for one. You got to go for the good points, right?
Scott, yeah. And Scott, if you want to join Space Coast, what do you need to do?
So you have to go to fans.clevelandbrowns.com, and we are an hour east of Orlando, and just look for Space Coast Browns backers and click on it.
No school today? What's he doing home?
Yeah, it's still early. He doesn't start school till what time? 9 o'clock. There you go. My wife takes him. 9 o'clock.
You lucky, buddy.
I want to go to one of those cushy schools that starts at 9 o'clock.
He's going to a very hard school, actually. He gets about twice as much homework as the other schools, don't you? Yeah.
Are you wearing that shirt to school today?
No, we have to wear uniforms there, but
you have to wear a uniform? Is that what he said?
Yep.
Gotcha. All right, one day when it's not uniform day, you can wear that shirt if you want to. Tell them I said so. It's okay.
I have to give a shout out to the Cleveland Browns and the group that puts all this together. They sent me this beautiful sign. I want you guys to see that. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's nice.
It's a great sign. We have a great location. It's called the Broken Barrel Tavern in Palm Bay, Florida. And then, guys, I sent you shirts, I think, a year ago. Take a look at these.
Oh, those are nice. I love those.
What size? Well, you'll have to tell me. Tell me what size afterwards, okay?
A couple 2Xs, right?
Get you some shirts.
Yeah, I'll take a 3X.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better.
I got one for you.
All right, thank you, Scott. We appreciate it. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon again.
Yeah, hey, I wanted to mention one thing.
Sure.
That everybody's screaming about the defense, but Peyton Manning had a 53.3 per quarterback rating. That's terrible. Pierre Desir had 10 tackles. Nobody's talking about that. Everybody's talking about Dansby. Travis Benjamin, 9 receptions, right? And look at Jordan Norwood. We gave him away and he fumbled. So a lot of it looked really good, guys. We're going to get there. We're this close.
All right, Scott, thank you. The Space Coast Optimist Club as well. Thanks, Scott. We appreciate it.
Take care.
We'll talk to you soon.
Have a great day, guys.
All right, let's go to the phone lines. Tubby Dog's been weighing in on. Hi, Tubby. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
You know what? I'm bummed. I wanted them to win yesterday. I know they played hard. It was one of those things where I was like, you know what? If they can win this game, you turn a lot of pessimists into optimists. And I also think that coming out of that game yesterday, if they could have won it, you're 3-3, and it makes all the difference in the world. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree, but I knew it was over in the second quarter, so fuck them.
What?
Yeah, I knew it was over. I called it. I was like, this is done.
Do you have any hope or confidence in the team?
Why did you think that? It was still a close game. What was the score at halftime? It was 10-0?
Yeah, but I just knew it wouldn't go the Browns' way. I didn't think going against this defense, I didn't see enough production. I didn't think they were going to actually seal the deal. They might have kept it close, which they did, but they weren't going to. They just weren't going to fucking beat this defense.
Tubby, have you given up on the season? Are you already moving towards the draft?
Oh yeah, I moved past it. I was on the draft like game 2.
Oh, you've already moved on to the draft. I see.
Yeah.
Are you?
Well, by the way, I agree with the call for 2. Except when they got the penalty, I would have put Turbin in there and put all the big uglies up front and got that fucking yard.
Yeah.
They would have won if they were you.
Well, no, because I suck. I don't know shit about football. I'm just a cussing fan. I know my role.
Tubby, I'm going to let you plug your show. What do you got coming out on the PSAC special?
On the PSAC today, we're talking about our dominant girls volleyball team, our dominant female soccer team, and then we're going to go around the NFL and talk about Sunday.
So what about your dominant football team?
Go ahead, say it.
So what about your dominant football team?
Remind everyone who's
we don't have a dominant football team. But that's all right, though, because our wrestling team did beat Michigan. And before you say wrestling don't count, remember where you're at in Northeast Ohio. Just saying.
So am I supposed to be? I'm supposed to be scared of that?
Just sit there and take it.
Wait,
just sit there and take it. We beat Michigan.
Am I supposed to be afraid of that?
Three in the end. The only 2 teams that beat us was the Ohio State and Iowa.
Hey, and guess what? Right. Ohio State got to come up to the big house. So you better be worried.
And you'll go down.
We will see.
Ann Arbor's a whore.
We shall see, huh?
That's all right. 806 and Michigan still sucks. So, fuck off and have a nice day. Talk to you guys later.
All right, Tubby. I'm going to ever see him in the streets. Wow. Somebody's really mad. I hope everybody heard that.
No rules. No rules. No rules.
Man, somebody's really angry right now.
Oh, Randy, where are we going next?
What do we got here? We got Howie Smith. Howie Smith.
Oh, Howie's on the line.
Hey,
Howie's on Skype One. Hi, Howie. How are you?
How you doing, Howie?
I'm doing good. How are you and Pierre doing? Good?
Pierre's good, except for the fact
I just got dogged. Really?
You got Tubby. You got Tubby.
Yeah, you got
that
Tubby.
Should be a
You
verb.
didn't get dogged.
Got Tubby.
Totally different. Totally different. Well, Howie, what did you think of the game yesterday?
Well, Tubby nailed it on the 2-pointer, especially with the offsides. You bring Turbin in, who is a beast, and you just shove it in there, and you get to do it. If you don't, like wait till next year said, it changes the whole game if you do or if you don't. Decisions are different, so that didn't matter. The other thing, when clock management, you watched how they did it. They did a good job of making sure they had time to use. Final thing, or 2 things. The defense did quite a job, considering that you didn't have Hayden, you didn't have Gibson. Everybody stepped up. You stopped a old but good quarterback and kept it close. The thing you have to do, though, when they got that too many men on the field penalty, you're playing Peyton Manning. He often goes no huddle. You've got to have people on the field that can play for more than one circumstance. You can't be changing players every down.
It's a great point. Are you second-guessing the coaching today? That's our next big question we've been asking.
I think they should have tried the field goal. Coons hasn't missed yet. It was in range. It was at the edge of the range, but still, take a shot. One of the things we always say is the faint heart never screws the landlady, so you got to get aggressive.
Ooh.
Wait a second. So you're saying in the beginning of the game, on the very first drive, you wanted them to kick the field goal. I'm going to make sure we're on the same page, right?
well, there were 2 spots, but that was one. Yeah, they should have taken that.
Here's the only reason why I'll tell you that I think they were better off going for it on the first one. The wind was crazy down there, and it was swirling like nuts, and it was also a west wind coming into the stadium. It would have been a very, very tough field goal,
Okay.
and as we've said, it was kind of out of his range. It was
Well,
early in the game.
I couldn't hear anything, when I was watching the game. I was sitting up here at a bar in Rochester, Minnesota. We're out here at the Mayo Clinic for a medical visit. And I got to tell you, there is an opening here for a Browns backers club. There is only one in Minnesota. It's in Minneapolis. And Rochester, Minnesota, because of the Mayo Clinic, has tons of people that come to visit, and they check in over the weekend for their Monday, Tuesday appointments.
Right.
I was in a bar with 350 people. I was the only Browns fan there, at least with any kind of gear on.
Right.
And about the beginning of the fourth quarter, one guy sat down right beside me at the bar, and he was the only Bronco fan, and he walked in the fourth quarter.
Wow. That
So
sounds like a dirty
what they
joke,
should
doesn't
do,
it?
if there's anybody up in Minneapolis that would want to reach south to Rochester, they just got to get a hold of Megan Rock at the Browns. Her email is mrock@clevelandbrowns.com, and you can start up a club down here, and you could get some activity locally, I'm sure, but tons of people that visit this area need a place to go sit with Browns fans to watch these games.
Sounds good. All right, hey, Howie, thank you very much. Again, you're in the bowels of Susquehanna.
Yeah, Susquehanna Valley Browns backers in Central PA, the bowels of Steeler country.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you later, Howie. Thanks for calling
Take
in.
care,
Howie.
We appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. That is a dedicated fan right there. Speaking of the Steelers, let's talk to our man, Matt Lodi. Hi, Matt.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good morning.
All right. First, give me a Steelers perspective on the Browns as they sit behind the Steelers in the AFC North right now.
Well, to be perfectly honest, no disrespect, but I don't think the Steelers really thought the Browns were going to be the challenge of the AFC North. I think the surprise of the AFC North, of course, is Baltimore and their struggles because they just haven't played well at all. And the fact the Steelers lost to Baltimore, I think for the Steelers is even more frustrating because if you would have had a kicker in that Thursday night game, the Steelers very well could be 5-1 at this point instead of 4-2. But they'll take 4-2. They're 2-1 without Ben Roethlisberger, but as far as the Browns go, I don't honestly, again, I know the Browns have played well. I've seen every game and obviously been to a couple of them. And I think the Browns are leaving it all on the field. I just think it's a talent issue, guys. I just don't think when you look at the Steelers winning at home with Landry Jones over an Arizona Cardinals team that probably is going to be at least in the NFC divisional playoffs, and the Browns with all those opportunities yesterday and not able to get it done against a Peyton Manning who clearly isn't a Peyton Manning of even 3-4 years ago. I think that just shows the difference in depth. It shows the difference in talent. And, again, the Browns are leaving it all in the field. I'm not upset if I'm a Browns fan today so much at how this team is playing and effort. I'm just upset at some of the little things. But as you actually, asked first, Andy, I don't think the Steelers are really too worried about the Browns as far as that goes, as far as the standings in the division go, if you will.
I just want to ask you about the Steelers game yesterday, just because a lot of us were watching the Browns game. I mean, I'd say I was kind of shocked that they won 25-13 over Arizona. Just what did they do to win, and how did they win yesterday?
Well, obviously the big story from the Steelers' perspective is Landry Jones. Actually a guy who was almost not even on the roster. He just did not play well in the preseason. Michael Vick, the hero from Monday night, was terrible, just absolutely ineffective. The Steelers at halftime had been outgained 256-59. They were just getting up and down the field, beat up on both sides of the ball, but they were hanging in there. They were only down 10-3 at half. Vick was terrible. Third quarter, Vick goes down with a hamstring injury. That was very slippery. There was a lot of rain at Heinz Field yesterday. Vick fell going out of bounds, and it appeared he kind of tweaked the hamstring. So they go with Landry Jones, and, kind of like the old gunslinger mentality, he came in and threw the ball all over the place and really played a very smart, good football game. Did not throw an interception. Ended up throwing for 168 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, he had an 80-yard touchdown to ice the game to Martavis Bryant, who returned from that 4-game suspension a week ago. Was actually, though, playing in his first game yesterday because did not play last week because of a knee injury. But the one thing, guys, that I think not a lot of people in the NFL are talking about right now as far as the Steelers go is their defense. Their defense has kind of got that bend but don't break mentality. They played very, very well yesterday against an Arizona team that had come in averaging over 30 points a game. They held them to 13 points. Carson Palmer, a guy that the Steelers know real well from all his years in Cincinnati, did not play a great game, threw for a ton of yards, 451 yards, but threw 2 key interceptions, including one towards the end of the game to Mike Mitchell in the end zone that really kind of iced the game, and then the Steelers went on to get that long 80-yard touchdown to Martavis Bryant to win the game. So they're 4-2. They've got Kansas City coming up on the road this week in a huge game. It'll be interesting to see if this team goes with Landry Jones one more time, if they go back to Michael Vick, which I don't see happening, or if they just go back to Ben Roethlisberger if he's healthy enough, because after this Kansas City game, they come home for 3 straight home games, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Oakland, and those are 3 very winnable games. I know Cincinnati's 6-0, but in the Steelers' minds, they're right there with Cincinnati. So by the time that they get to their bye week, you never know. They could be 8-2 and rolling, especially with yesterday's win. I thought yesterday's win was one of those season-changing wins. The way they did it and the fact that they did it with a guy in Landry Jones who, again, really wasn't even expected to make the roster in a lot of minds.
Hey, last question for you, Matt. Are you surprised the Bengals have been so dominant?
You know, Andy, yeah, a little bit. I thought yesterday might have been the day that they sort of lay an egg. It was in Buffalo. The weather wasn't very good. But you know what? This is a team that we've seen do things like this before. I mean, they've been very, very good throughout parts of the regular season, but then when the game is on the line or when the season's on the line in the postseason, they're just not able to get it done. So I don't know. I think I'm surprised at how good they've been from A to B, or from A to Z, I guess, if you will. But you've got to wait till later in the season. I'm not going to put any emphasis on what Cincinnati's doing until I see a big game against a big-time team. I know they beat Seattle, and that was a good win, but Seattle clearly isn't the same team that they win the last 2 seasons. Let me see them do it against a team like New England, like Pittsburgh. Let me see them do it in the postseason before I say, oh, yeah, Cincinnati is the real deal this year. They're a very good football team. It looks like they're going to win 10 or 11, maybe 12 games, but I need to see them do it in the postseason.
All right, Matt Lodi, thank you very much. SteelersGab.com. Thank you, Matt. We'll talk to you later.
Guys, have a great week, and go Browns. Again, tough day yesterday, but we'll see you next week against St. Louis.
All right, good luck. Hopefully we'll talk about – is that your dog there? I've never seen your dog before.
Little my man Otto, named after Otto Graham right there. Look
Otto,
at there.
not
What's
bad.
up,
Steeler fan with Otto Graham dog right there. At one point, I want to talk to you about your new book, but that's down the road. Well, I'll just keep it quiet. But
I appreciate that.
We'll
Thanks,
talk about
Andy.
that later. Okay, he's writing a book. It's going to be exciting. All right, let's go.